What is a rich person thing that you would be totally into if you became rich? A personal chef. Holy heck. Never having to think up what to eat for every meal ever again sounds incredible. This is why I decided I'm going to a retirement home when I get old. Dude, you never have to cook or decide what to eat ever again. Not working. In particular, not working for money. Making myself breakfast at a leisurely hour for the second day in a row because snowstorm. I thought, is this what it's like to be rich? No schedule, just wake up and do what you feel that day. Summering. And you've got to, winter too. I was watching Drive to Survive on Netflix, and the main Red Bull guy said one of the rich peopleest sentences I've ever heard. He turned to some Saudi dude and said, "You look like you've wintered well." That was like 5 years ago, and I still think about that sentence often. I live in New Zealand. My best friend married a guy from Switzerland. They aren't rich, but they have 2 camper vans, one in NZ and one in Switzerland. They spend 6 months a year in each country, so it is always summer for them. They just get by doing seasonal work like fruit picking and living in the camper van or staying with family. They do a lot of driving around Europe and NZ and just live a life of freedom. Tailored clothes. I hate the way clothes are made these days, so I would definitely get my clothes made specifically for me. Even DIY is expensive these days. Fabric costs an absurd amount of money. Buying shit without looking at the price tag, or having to check my bank account. This was my original definition of being on the road to being wealthy. Basically, being able to walk down an aisle at Sam's or Costco, and if I liked an item, just buy it without having to save for it or check my balance. In my late 40s, I've finally hit this point. It's such a relief and a weight off my shoulders. Even bigger than this is being able to just replace or fix stuff when it breaks without having to scramble for a few weeks or months while I save up for a replacement or repair. I wish this level of success for everyone. I take an obscene amount of classes, from elder law to beekeeping to scuba diving, rock climbing and quantum physics, pharmacology and French cuisine. I know everything. This has always just stunned me about the billionaire class. You could hire a language professor for what would for you be pennies and just have them travel around with you teaching you Russian or whatever. You could have a full-time woodworking instructor. You have the resources to legitimately become the best educated person in the history of humanity. And you'd rather work? I know. The things they have access to that they don't take advantage of is maddening. Like so many of their heirs don't speak multiple languages, don't have interesting degrees, etc. They can literally study for fun. Isolating myself in a lake house for a couple years till I go insane trying to write a novel. And maybe buy a pair of Crocs. Would you put them in the lake? Yes, every day I would feed them with my grogginess and tears of longing to my ex-wife who I still love. Professional cleaners. My boss got rich and upgraded to the daily cleaner, does everything including putting away kids' toys, level cleaning, and man, his kids are going to be spoiled as shit, but what a joy to have a daily cleaned home. I pay $100 a month to get my house cleaned and am not rich. It's a small house. Oh, I love a cleaning service. But what I'm talking about is the payoff difference between regular person cleaner and essentially a real maid. A personal maid is astronomical. A person to come behind children and tidy up after them every single day, on top of deep cleans or even dishes laundry help. OMG, your comment made me realize I was a beneficiary of this as a child. Freshly ironed sheets were heavenly to slip into. Iron sheets? Man, I guess I never knew how poor I was. I've never even heard of someone ironing sheets before. A 2-story library with a fireplace, a wrought iron spiral staircase, and rolling ladders. This, but also one of the bookcases has to open up, reveal a secret door leading to a secret room that's filled with, I dunno, ball pit balls or something. I don't know, that's not the important part. The important part is the library and secret bookshelf door. Getting a massage every 2 to 3 weeks. To a week in my own home. High-end hotels and resorts. Nothing but the best. Wife and I treated ourselves and stayed at a Ritz-Carlton for a change on our last trip. It was so nice just knowing everything was guaranteed to go well with our stay. No, sorry, your room isn't ready yet. No finding a hair on the bed. No hearing the shower running from the room next door, no grumpy employees, etc. Just complete peace of mind, on top of just being a very nice hotel overall, of course. Wish all our hotel stays could be like that. One thing that's pretty consistent in high-end places, restaurants, hotels, first-class flights, etc. The employees are way happier because they are getting paid a lot more. It makes for a much more pleasant experience all around. For years I've spent fantasizing about my Bond villain lair. I bet if you spent $300 at Home Depot and watched some YouTube tutorials you could make that button-activated trapdoor happen, man. Your enemies would just fall into your boiler room and possibly damage the plumbing. I would anonymously go on to GoFundMe postings looking for people in need of miracles like paying off surgeries and funerals, etc., and pay them completely. It really resonates with me. A couple of years ago, a high school girl in my town was killed by a hit-and-run driver. She was from an underprivileged family. Her mother couldn't speak English, so on the local news site, it was the older brother being interviewed. I followed the info from the article and donated to their GoFundMe for the funeral. I felt bad that at the time, I could only afford to give them $50. The brother wrote me a heartfelt email, and it made me cry. Sigh, only if I could be rich. I'd like to become a hobby pilot and have my own airplane. I owned a Cessna 172 in my 30s. I wasn't rich, just a working slob. It was actually affordable then. I couldn't do that now. A friend of mine is a dink, dual income, no kids, and does what he calls star collection. By which I mean is that he and his wife go to Michelin-starred restaurants, sometimes flying to different locations, and he keeps a little journal about each of the restaurants. He asks for the wine labels, typically keeps the menu, takes photos of the food, writes a little blurb about the stuff he liked, disliked, etc. It would be a pretty baller coffee table book someday, I think. Funny thing is, though, his wife is super finicky, doesn't eat fish or cheese and doesn't care for sweets, so the experience is almost always wasted on her. But if I were rich, sure, I'd do that. Goddamn, I love the dink life. Wife and I once took a trip to Portland literally just to go book shopping at the big bookstore. I wouldn't call us rich by any means, we saved a bit for it. Just the freedom to do it though. Never do any chores, especially cooking, as it takes the longest. If I were rich I'd spend most of my time cooking. With amazing ingredients and good knives, etc., plus good cooking classes. Retire immediately. Taking a vacation without worrying how the loss in pay will affect my ability to pay bills. Shrugging at money and fixing things on a whim. I started dating a guy who came from a completely different background than me, and I was talking to him about how I needed to prioritize going to the dentist to fix a tooth, which I had been putting off because of money. His response was, "Well, go do it then, it's only a couple of $100. Like, yes, that is the issue, that is a lot of money. It is important to look after your teeth, and I am getting it done, but that really made us realize that we did not have the same view on money. Eat avocado toast every day. I know it's really bad for the environment, but the thought of taking a private jet from my home to my destination and avoiding having to deal with airport terminals and connecting flights seems like a dream. I'm not saying the millionaires are right, but I understand. Building a labyrinth that connects all my fancy buildings underground. I would be really into owning a house. Maybe even more than one house," cries a millennial. "I would never again wash and style my hair myself. If I became rich, I'd be into traveling the world more extensively, staying in unique places like private islands or remote luxury lodges. I'd love the experience of learning from different cultures and style. I don't think you will get a lot of experience with different cultures on private islands and remote luxury resorts, lol. 2 chicks at the same time. I bet if you had $1 million you could get 2 chicks at the same time. Being able to chase my dreams and aspirations freely. No budgeting, hoping everything lines up, and having it get derailed because unexpected expenses keep popping up. Bringing friends and family out for dinner and sorting the bill myself. Spoiling my parents. Buying elections and politicians. I'd buy them and get them to pass clean energy bills, universal healthcare, UBI, affordable housing, taxes on the rich, yes, even myself, and cutting the military budget. All the good stuff. I'd have to be a mega billionaire for that. But I look at the billionaires we have and get so angry because they could be doing so much good for the country and entire world. Be debt-free. Rich people are not debt-free. When you are rich, you use the bank's money and keep yours invested. If by rich, you mean a multi-billionaire, 1. Open up non-profit shelters for street animals, domestic violence victims, sexual abuse victims. 2. Tie up with the government and build shelters for the poor, and help them build skills to live life with their heads held high. 3. Open up a chain of restaurants that operates on low profit margins and high-quality food, funneling all profits into growth and employ said people from above at above par wages. 4. Open a cinema with the largest IMAX GT screen ever made, and a few normal screens, having 70mm, IMAX 70mm, and 35mm capabilities. Play 70mm IMAX films for a few shows a month, and also have a film club where you pay an annual fee and get discounted tickets, food, and also get to watch world cinema and classics that will be played twice a week at no extra cost. 5. Have a fund in tune of $10 million a year where those in need of major surgeries and healthcare can apply and get their procedures done for free. What thing you would be totally into if you became rich? Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this one.